I want to welcome you to Waco Miniature Games. This is the first broadcast of the Waco Miniature Games channel. I'm really excited to bring to you ideas and different miniature games, some that you may have seen before on other channels and some that you may not. I have to say that Ash, who has started Guerrilla Games, has really inspired me, and I'm very excited about trying to do something along the same lines that they've been working on. I want to introduce games, I want to show games, I want to look at games. And I right now have on my front porch Firefight from Mantic Games. And I want to unbox that for you, take the miniatures, assemble them, paint them, and then play a game that we can watch on here. So let's go check out the front porch and see if that... Right here at my front door, I have the box that should contain Firefight. I'm going to open it up and we'll see what's inside. All right, right now we're going to open this up and see what we have inside this box. I'm very excited about it. I ordered it last week. I've seen this game just a few times, and not very many channels have I seen it on there. Right here we have Firefight. I did get it from Amazon Games, but it is a Mantic game, and I'm very excited about it. The game itself cost just a little over $100, but it has over 71 miniatures, and it should have some tokens with it, as well as some dice and other things that I'm really excited about. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a look. All right, here is Firefight from Mantic Games. Very excited about this game itself. It is a futuristic space battle, probably a little bit like 40K, I would imagine, but it's a smaller battle, so it's more of a skirmish war. And it may be the first one you can get, though, that leads you into some bigger battles themselves. Opening up the sides so I can slide the box out. So far, probably the most awkward unboxing ever seen. Oh, I ripped the box itself. It's probably not that good. I mean, the box is good. Ripping it was probably not. All right. So Firefight, let's see what we have inside when we open it up. Very exciting right here as I open it up. First thing I spot is a bunch of sprues. These sprues right here look like they are going to be part of the mechanized portion. I've seen these are going to be shields, and we'll look at this a little bit closer. So we have the mechanized portion. Quite a bit of sprues here that are going to need to be put together. I'm very excited about putting all these together. Notice how many of them I'm pulling out. Over on this side, we're going to have more of our grunts. These are going to be our orcish kind of creatures right here. And these orcs, we also have several sets of sprues right here. And we'll take a look at these in just a moment, a little bit closer to see each one of them. Looks like we have some of our bases here. Looking here, my understanding is this is going to be another ship that flies quickly, almost like a speeder bike from the Star Wars movies. We have a wooden token right here. We have some other pieces that look like they're also going to combine together. Looks like some upgrades, perhaps. Looking like some sort of guns. Next one, a few more guns as well. Looks like those are going to go with the orcs. Right here we have command dice. These command dice are used in order to figure out how many commands you get. I've been able to watch some of the game being played. Right here we have 8-sided dice. And it looks like we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this one. And we have another 8 in this one as well. So this means we have 16 eight-sided dice that we'll need to be able to play the game. We have some more bases right here. These are the bases that we will put our miniatures on once we've put them together. And we have some more of those wooden pieces right here. Now, after I've opened that up, we have a quick starter getting set. And inside, when I look inside of it, it's going to have directions for how to assemble my Firefight people, as well as it's going to have each of their different abilities and classes. And we'll look at this here in just a couple of moments, but it'll tell us exactly how they work and how they run. I've had a chance to see some of the information on them, and we'll look at that in just a moment or two. Right here, these are going to be things that we're able to punch holes out, or punch out, and use for our command troops so that we know what's going on. These right here will be in order to have different spots that our characters can grab a hold of, and those will recognize points for victory. Then we have a rule book here. It is a paperback rule book, but the paperback rule book itself is filled with some excellent pictures. It has some information, and it's going to have, I believe, how we're going to be able to play. Look at that. That's some excellent art in there. Really enjoy seeing that. Then we also have force lists. Now, the advantage of the force list, because I've seen this on another video as well, is our force lists allows us to get different kinds of creatures that we can purchase and also play in the game, so that you can play these space battles with larger groups and different factions from different parts of the universe. And we'll look at a little bit closer at that in just a moment as well. And that finishes off, with the exception of 2 more wooden pieces, everything that we had in the box. So this is what came in the Firefight starter kit, and we'll look at a couple of these pieces a little bit closer. All right, the first section here that I'm looking at is our orcs that we have, and all 4 of these sets seem to be pretty much the same. So I opened one up that we might be able to take a look at it and see what we're looking at here. So we have, as I'm looking at this, looks like we have several bodies. And this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 bodies. We have the weapons that they're going to be able to use, and the figures right there that they're going to be able to utilize. So you can see that you have a lot of different choices and options as you put these on, it looks like. Over here, we have some more weapons that they can be using, as well as a whole row of heads that we can put onto our figures right here. It looks like each of these sections are going to provide us with 10 miniatures each. And so that right there will be 40 of our miniatures that we're getting ready to use. So those are 40 right there. These right here are going to be another creature. Another creature looks like one of the orc ones, just be from the body size, but it's going to be an upgraded creature here that we're looking at. So in using the proper name for these that I've just looked up in the Firefight book itself, it tells me that these are the enforcers. The ones we looked at a moment ago, the orcs, are actually considered the marauders. And so I'll be using the right term, hopefully, from here on out. You'll notice that these 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, these 4 have basically the same sprues in them. And as I look at these sprues, this first one here has a bunch of torsos. It's going to have your arms and your legs that you can put with it. And on the second one here, it has other options for weapons, and it has several different heads right down here. My understanding is, just from what I've seen in the game, is that a lot of times the leaders will have their helmets a little bit different, the leaders of a unit, than the other ones. Now we'll have to figure out more about that as well. So that's what these ones look like here. And as I count this out on this one, There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives me 5 enforcers on here, and 5 times 4 would give me 20. So I'll have 20 enforcers through here. There's another bag right here that I'll have to open up, and we'll look at this one as well for the enforcers. So this last set of sprues looks like Enforcer Peacekeeper Defenders. I'll have to confirm that, but just a quick glance through the Firefight book tells me that that's most likely what these are. So when I look at these here, it gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 torsos, which means I have 5 of these that I can utilize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shields that also go with that, which tells me that together, that's how many of these that we're looking at here. So next we have our cutouts here, our pop-outs. The pop-outs, this is, and I'll just pop one of these out of here. This is really good cardboard. It's quite thick. It's very useful. I'm not exactly sure what each of these is going to be used for. It looks like clouds and maybe some sort of poison gas for something. Each of these look like it's going to be very important in combat, that we can place these on different figures, perhaps if they've gone or not, if they've already activated, to keep track of that. My guess is that something like this looks like that unit might be broken. I'm maybe afraid and getting ready to flee, but we'll have to look through some more of the rule book to see what these are all about. On the other side, they have the same kind of things as well, so they're two-sided on this. Then we have here again our markers. I believe these are what you go after to try to gain victory points. Each one of them, you'll notice, if I pop it out, it has 2 different colors on it. One color on this side, one color on the other, so that we can use those for different point values would be my guess, or different groups that are supposed to gather either one of those. So this has green on the back side, and I believe this one is going to have blue. So it's going to be blue on the back side of the yellowish red, and then the pink here will have green on the opposing side. So we can use these, and we have plenty of them to use throughout the game. So next we have a getting started quick guide. It's really thin and will allow you to figure out the rules very quickly, is my hope. Your first games, assembling your models, which it does do an excellent job here of showing you exactly how to assemble your models. And so here are the bases of the torsos that we were looking at. For these two right here, look like they're going to be the torsos of the 20 guys that we had. And then the extra box that had 5, looks like these are going to be the options of what I am able to put together with those. Then this right here, this box, this bag right here that I haven't opened up yet, because there's a lot of small pieces. I want to make sure I don't lose those till I start gluing them together. That's going to be the assembly of the Enforcer jet bike. So you can see right here, it gives us the different options, and it's kind of nice because they color code it with different options, so you can kind of figure out which options go with which bike and which choice. We have here different kinds of weapons that we're going to be able to use, and those most likely will have different values that we're able to use with them. The same thing is true over here of our Marauders. And as we're looking at the Marauders, here are some of the basic bodies that we saw there. I believe there was 40 of those. And you can see the different choices. Now, the choices are put together across from each other. Again, they're color-coded, so you can figure out which ones go with which. If you use this one on this side, you're going to want to use this one across from it. That becomes very important, and things like over here, making sure that their hands, like this doesn't have a hand on the bottom of it because the hand's on this part of the model over here, so you can see which pieces to put together. You'll also notice that the Commando Captain assembly, the captain itself is going to have a different head than some of the rest of them will have. That's really important in the game for people to understand who the captain is of your unit. It's the same thing is true here for the Peacekeeper assembly. You'll notice that his head is different slightly than the other heads that we have here. Once we turn the page, that's going to take us to looking at the different units we have and the information about how to play the game, and what different abilities and powers each one of them have, depending on what they're doing. Again, I've got to look through the rules a little bit more, but from what I understand, we've got speed, we have our shooting bonus, we have an attack bonus, our armor, the hit points that we have, and I'm going to have to look up the NE and the HE. The base is the size of the base and how many points it's going to cost. I'm going to have to look up a couple of these other things on here as we go through, but this allows us right here to have our units, all the information we need from those, very easily accessible to us in a quick format. And right here is our peacekeepers. And if I take this and I turn it around to the other side, at that point, I will have my marauders. And then I can see my marauders there as well. Now, once I finish with the marauders, oops, I turned it all the way around. Let me go back to the other side. Once I finished with the marauders, it'll give us our quick start and how we begin. It gives us a beginner's battle right away, tells you your terrain, what your deployment should be, how long your game should last. In this case, it's 5 rounds. It tells us how to set up your pieces. It's 12 inches and 12 inches, and these are 12 inches as well, which tells me that it's going to be a 4-foot board right there that we're going to be playing on across from each other. Then it's going to tell us the order that you play in, how you can tell who won, standard uses of commando points, some of the actions that you have, and the way that you move through each of these. At the very end, you'll notice that we have pinned units. I recognize that symbol right there from one of the small tokens. And so that token right there tells me that that's one of the tokens we'll be placing before them. Also, useful keywords. And I'm sure these useful keywords are going to come into play when we're starting to look at how to actually play the game. And having these available to you very quickly is going to be extremely helpful, especially when we're starting out. Now here we have the core rulebook, and this is going to have a lot more rules than that original one did. As you can see here, it's what you need to play, your models and your units. We're going to be looking at the rules, rounds, turns, command points, orders. It's breaking down a lot of these things into a much greater information. Right here we have Welcome to Firefight, and this actually is right here what you're looking at. This is what this entire rule book contains, or the entire box contains, everything that's listed right here. As we go through some of these pages, I really like the fact that they use models to show us some of the things that we need in order to play and how we're going to play. It's going to break down for us each portion of what all of this means on our cards that we were looking at earlier. It has some really, really impressive artwork. The artwork just jumps out and makes you want to play the game itself. Got your rules, again, some of the different diagrams to show you, and more of that very exciting artwork. I'm looking very much forward to playing the game, to creating my miniatures, and I cannot wait to see what my miniatures look like compared to these. Here we have 2 different factions. On the left, we have some robots against those on the right, which I believe are the forefathers, which are dwarves, space dwarves, that is. As we go through the rules, the missions, again, very impressive artwork as we look through there. Some really cool ideas of space. We have a map to see where all of the different things are. And we end again with some excellent artwork in this book itself. I'm very excited. Mantic Games has really done a wonderful job of putting this together. I'm looking now at the next book, which is the Firefight Force List. So this is going to contain possible force lists for the models that I have here, but also there are other models available. So as you go through, there are a number of different kinds that we can use if you're interested. The ones that we're going to be using in this one specifically are the Enforcers and the Enforcers here and the Marauders. But there are other groups that you can also use. You can use Asterians. They are all robots. Someone described those a little bit when I was looking at something as almost a elvish kind of idea. The Enforcers are what come in the box. The Forge Fathers, Those Forge Fathers are going to be like space dwarves. GCPS is kind of a, they work for corporations, is my understanding. Marauders are going to be your orcs, and they are more of a group of mercenaries. The Plague are people kind of like zombies that have been infected and they just want to run around and infect others. And then we have the Veermen, which is play on the words, vermin, which are your rats. So as we open it up, it gives you some force lists. What I really like about this is at first, it not only gives you a really great picture of all the models that you might want to think about getting, and gives you some ideas of painting them. It goes through and it gives you what kind of force lists you can use and what the costs are, what kind of damage. Now, when I first looked at this, I was thinking to myself, how in the world am I supposed to know which of these is which? And I was thinking, what in the world am I going to do? And then I realized, wait a minute, there is another page, and that page is entirely dedicated as I go down through to tell me which kind of things each one is. So I can read about it, and I know by the appearance which one is which, and so then I can go back through the pages and figure out how many points each one is worth and what kind of damage it does. Then, again, another impressive piece of artwork. The next is the Enforcers. Now, this is what it comes with in the book that I have here. And as I'm looking through these Enforcers, that was when I realized I didn't know what all of these were or who they were. And that's when I came to the conclusion that I could figure that out here. And that's one of the ways that I figured out that we most likely have Enforcer, Peacekeeper, Defenders. Not sure if we have the Dominator rifle or which rifle we have with that. But we also should have the Enforcer jet bike that we can see right there. Again, some impressive artwork. Then we have the Forge Fathers. And after we have the Forge Fathers, let's jump through here. I'd like to get through fairly quickly to show you some of the other different factions. Here's your Forge Fathers. Again, artwork. Jumping in next to the GCPS. And here's our GCPS, as you can see right there. All the information from those. Jumping past the GCPS, we then have the Marauders. You can see all the different options you have with the Marauders. Jumping past the Marauders, this is the last page with the Marauders there. We have the Plague. The Plague. These are your zombie kind of creatures. And the last group here that we have are the Vermin. The Plague attacking here. But then we jump in to the Vermin, and our Vermin are going to be rat kind of creatures, the Vermin. And the rest of the book just finishes that off. And so that is your Firefight force lists. The only thing I have not yet figured out, and I'm sure I soon will, what our pieces are for this. But we talked about these and realized that these are going to be some of the Marauders. Then we have, again, 16 dice. After we have the 16 dice, we have these dice right here, which are command dice that we'll be able to roll to see how many command points we have. And last but not least, we have the bases that we'll be able to put our miniatures on. I'll be constructing these miniatures, and I will post another video with the construction of those. Overall, I'm very, very excited about Firefight. I think Firefight is going to be an amazing game, and I think we're going to enjoy not only putting it together, but also playing it as well. Now, that might have been one of the roughest unboxings that I have ever seen. I'd say ever done, but since it's my only one, well, it is the roughest one and the best one that I've ever done. So, I do appreciate you watching. I will hopefully improve. The whole purpose behind this is to have a whole lot of fun, to enjoy miniatures, and to be able to show you some of the miniatures that you might not already have, or give you some ideas of games that you might enjoy playing. So, I thank you for watching today, and I hope that you tune in again. I will be putting together the miniatures, the Marauders. I'll be putting together the Enforcers. I'll be painting them, and then we will be playing. I may even post in here some games before I get all that finished, but I'll keep you up to date as we work along. Thanks so much for watching Waco Miniature Games. I'm BJ Williams, and I hope you've had a good time.